First time in a long time this thing's been running. Well guys, after a while of putting street legal stuff on this KTM 450 XCRW, we've got the engine back out of it. You saw her puffing blue smoke, rings are gone. This thing's got multiple motocross seasons on it with no real rebuilds. I did end up doing a ring job on this thing probably about 3-4 years ago. And Tony's put a whole ton of hours on this thing. This goes to show that, yes, you might have a street legal supermoto. And these things are designed to last forever. But if you put them in a motocross situation, it doesn't last forever. This thing's got a recluse clutch in it. That recluse clutch is extremely complicated and in-depth when it comes to how it works, what it's got, and all the pieces, parts that it's got in it. I'm going to be putting my face in this video, that way you guys can see me talking to you and kind of going through the video and explaining what's going on while I'm doing it. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Comments are always welcome, encouraged. Watch the video as long as you can. It really helps out the channel. We're trying to get these videos out to as many people as we can, get this channel to grow and grow and grow. We've got memberships available. We're live streaming periodically on Twitch and Kick. Check that out. You want to come hang out? You guys got mechanical questions or anything like that? I will make videos and help you guys out as best as I can. Turning around, we've got to split these cases. The motor was knocking really bad. I thought it was a rod knock because it really sounded like a rod knock, as consistent as it was. So we're going and we're splitting the cases on this motor. Not really a big deal, not really a hard project, but there is a lot to it. KTM likes running multiple oil pumps, and they like doing things a lot differently than other companies. They've got some neat plastic guards and stuff to keep everything lined up. This is the stator side, not a whole lot to it. Get a couple of the other bolts out so we can get the counterbalancer and stuff out, and we'll get this thing spun around and playing with the other parts of the engine. Now, what do you guys do? Here's a question for the comments. Do you just general ride? Are any of you guys racers? Are any of you guys builders? What do you guys ride? Let me know down in the comments below. Kind of curious as to what people that watch these videos are actually riding and what you're interested in. These are build videos. These are teardown videos. I do a lot of them. They don't really go very far, and I'm curious as to why. Really neat being able to see the engines as they come apart, seeing the components and stuff that's in them. It gets you familiar with an engine that you typically would not be familiar with. I build race bikes. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. I've run across tons of different engines. I've got a lot of experience with many different engines. Street bikes, not so much. Dirt bikes, on the other hand, quads, trikes, 2-strokes, 4-strokes, yes. Been doing this stuff a long time. It's pretty much what I do. I get people saying, this isn't correct, that's not correct, this isn't correct, that's not correct. You're not following protocol. I've been in the dealerships, I've been professionally trained, I've been factory trained. Just because you see something in your book or you've done something that people have told you to do does not mean that it's always the correct way. You look at service bulletins, you look at the way factory says to do things, it's not always 100% the right thing. As you can see in the cylinder, the Nikasil is wore off of it. That is the exhaust side, and on the intake side, you see the scuff mark down on the bottom. That is wore out. We did not have rod knock. We had piston slap. Excessive space between the piston and the cylinder wall because the Nikasil was wore out caused the piston to rattle back and forth. That causes a knocking sound. It is a deeper sound, and it does sound similar to crank or rod bearings. The lower bearings make a deeper knocking sound. Sometimes they're hard to pinpoint. Sometimes it's really simple. We get into this recluse clutch, whole bunch of torque screws. I don't understand the theory behind this. They're little dinky screws. There's a lot of them, so I guess you don't need to put a lot of pressure on them. But a ton of dinky little torque screws. You get the plate off of it, and there's a million ball bearings. Now, these ball bearings are what make the clutch do its thing. When you're at a low RPM, the balls slide in, disengage the clutch so you can start the bike and idle with it in gear. As you rev the engines, like a centrifugal clutch, the balls slide out, it engages or disengages the clutch, and you start to move. It's a really cool idea. There's just a lot of components to it, and I was not expecting that pressure plate to pop like it did. Really glad the balls didn't go flying everywhere. As you can see, there's still a handful of balls in there. That could have been detrimental. You lose one of these balls, from what I was told, this particular recluse clutch is not made anymore, so you can't get parts for it. You can update it, you can get a new one, but you can't get stuff for this one. Yay for making parts obsolete and forcing people to update. A little bit strange considering Yamaha hasn't updated a lot of stuff on their YFZ 450s in a long time. Mainly the clutch, I think somebody said since 2014 hasn't been updated. They did update the bearings sometime in the early 20s, and their new bearing manufacturer is absolute garbage, so there has been a massive run of cranks going out on the YFZ 450s because, well, when you go with the lowest bidder, you get the lowest quality parts. Now we're playing around with the oil pumps on these KTMs. There's little C-clips and stuff to hold the plastic gears on. You got to be careful because we call those Jesus clips. If you pop them a little bit too hard, they go flying across the shop, never to be found again. If you had this kind of experience, do you have a neat little trick to go along with it? Going in, loosen up all the different Allen screws. That way we can just pull everything apart. Pull the kicker gear out. Of course, it pops apart, no big deal. It's just a typical, atypical ratcheting kicker gear, just like pretty much everybody else makes. Lots of plates, lots of oil pumps. I don't know why KTM likes using 3 oil pumps in their motors. Yes, the engines are split. You've got the oil that goes in the clutch side, and then you've got the oil that goes in, it seems to be the transmission and top end. The reason I say that is because when I drained the oil, one side was full of clutch dust, the other side was not, and it looked really clean. As you'll see further on in the video when we split the cases, you can physically see where the dirty oil was, where the clean oil was. So you get a really good idea on how the oil travels and which compartments the oil goes in. Having the oil go in your top end and your transmission, in my opinion, is a bad idea. The amount of friction and wear that is in a transmission, those little pieces get into your top end, they get into your rod bearings, your wrist pin bearings, your crank bearings, and they will eat the bearing. So in my opinion, I would actually keep the transmission oil and the top end crank valley oils separate to keep the contaminants away from each other. Transmission can handle contaminants. Yes, the bearings are a little bit more robust and durable to a point, but the crank's going through a lot and it can't have particles getting into the bearings. Transmissions can have particles getting into the bearings. Sometimes the gears will just eat up chunks of aluminum if they're in there. If you got a chunk of steel that gets in between the gears, though, you're going to lock that bitch up, chip teeth, bad things happen. So, oil changes are always critical. I see people with cars saying, oh, cut your oil filter open so that you can see what's going on. No, just look at the oil that's draining. Is it sparkly? Run your finger underneath it. Do you see components, parts, metal debris, anything that doesn't look right? Clutch dust is a grayish color. It's common. If you're using your clutch, you're going to get clutch dust in your oil. It happens. That's why you change your oil a lot. This is a neat little trick when you have plates that are flush. Grab something, spin the plate. When you spin the plate, it pretty much breaks the seal. Then you can get underneath it and lift the plate out. Works really well. Little helpful tips and tricks really make things easier for people that are not aware of them. Magnets are your friends. A lot of this stuff is steel, it's not stainless. So, the majority of pieces in here are going to be magnetic. Going through, making sure everything else looks good. We're bagging up everything. I don't typically bag things up. With this engine, everything is getting bagged up. Don't have enough experience with these engines per se to know exactly what goes where when. 250R engines, Z engines, 400EXs, stuff like that I'm into all the time. Yeah, I can run these things blindfolded all day. These KTM engines, I do not have the confidence to run these things blindfolded, but I do have the confidence to know that if I take it apart, I can put it back together and it will run. That's not a question. Get it back together the correct way, as long as we do it quick enough, we'll remember how it went together. Having everything bagged up makes it really easy because you know which bag goes with what components. No, I did not label them. Experience plays a part. All these people that you see on TikTok and these mechanics that you see on these other apps that are turning around saying, oh, you need to buy a relay tester, buy this tool, buy that tool, buy this tool, buy that tool. It'll make life so much easier. No, learn how to properly diagnose faulty equipment. The diagnostic procedure does not change. How you interpret issues does not change. If you have certain causes, certain things affect it. If you know what the cause and effect is, you know where to go. I'm not a glorified part swapper. There's a lot of techs out there that are just glorified part swappers. They will plug the computer in. The computer will tell them where the problem is. It will tell them what part's broken. They don't have to use any kind of brain power or experience or anything. The computer makes it super simple. I know a lot of people that go to Advanced Auto Parts. They will have Advanced Auto Parts, plug a computer in, they will buy the parts there, they'll go home and they will fix the parts. Pretty much anybody can be a part swapper these days if you have the right tools to get the parts out and you know the order of operation. As you saw with these cases split, couple of taps, no case splitter needed. Thing came right apart. Absolutely love that, but it does make me question the crank bearing on the stator side. Because as you can see, the crank bearing slid right off of the crank, and that's supposed to be an interference fit. So that could possibly be another rattle that's in the motor. Gonna dig into that one a little bit more now that I notice it while I'm editing the videos. Another reason I like going through these videos and actually putting these things up for you guys is because I personally get to see stuff that I might have missed during disassembly. I've got people around me, I've got stuff going on, my brain's not completely focused here on the engine. With ADHD brain, I'm bouncing, I'm on 15 different projects while the hands are playing robot and just disassembling. It's how I work, it's how I've always worked. Having a little bit of problem getting some of the gears out. That one peg did not want to come out of the cases. So that's going to be interesting putting it back together. I might finagle with it a little bit, see if I can get it out of the cases. There's springs that go in those pegs. I'm not really quite sure what the springs are for because that peg doesn't float. And the cases close everything together so that your shift forks stay where they need to be. So that's got me a little bit confused at this point. We'll figure out when we go to put it all back together as to actually what's going on. But you can see underneath the crank where the dark gray is, and you can see how clean it is in the transmission area. That tells me that clutch basket oil does not go into the transmission, as I said earlier. KTM is notorious for doing things differently because they can. KTM pushes limits. KTM does stuff that other companies will not do because they actually charge more for their products, but you're getting a higher quality product. When they say race ready, those little pins, yes, those little pins right there, those are for the shift forks. They go on the little buttons on the shift forks. They're guides. You do not lose those. One of them actually stayed on the shift fork, so we only had 2 fall out. Stuff to keep an eye out for. and know where they go. This is where the experience comes in. We're coming up on a close on this engine disassembly. Look forward to the reassembly and build. Tony's going to be sending the cylinder out to get it replated. We got a new piston coming. I tried beating on the crank, see if I can get it out. Nope, that side's stuck. So that tells me that the stator side has issues. Clutch side does not have issues. Got to address that. Yeah, tell Tony he needs to order at least one new crank bearing. We'll spec out the crank to see if it's not worn down, because that is also a possibility. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me for the day through this disassembly. I tried to get you some good videos. I had a GoPro had a GoPro glitch, so we only got some GoPro videos, and yeah, the other side got my shoulder in the way a few times. Really sorry about that, but it is me just recording me. We don't have cameramans, we don't have teams, we don't have editors. It's just me. Really appreciate everybody. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. Check out the rest of this channel for more videos.